Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Nice to virtually see you. That was corny, sorry. So, welcome back. To those who don't know me, my name is Hennessy's. I am very excited to be before you guys, not literally obviously, but to be able to reach out, even if it is to one person. I ask that you please share this video, that you subscribe, and you become part of my Christ family, I guess you could call it. Today, for the series that I'm doing, I kind of wanted to do it a little different. So normally what I've been doing is I've been bringing a word. I've been bringing a topic for the day, and I've been sharing that topic and speaking on it based on a scripture. Sorry. But today, I think I want to do it a little differently. And I actually want to speak about a little bit of my testimony. This is going to be part 1 of my testimony. I want to share with you guys, I know in this time of that we still have a global pandemic going on, I want to share with you guys some of the healings and the miracles that God has done in my life. So, my first miracle, I guess, this one is not something that I remember. This is something that my mom actually had to tell me because I was too young to remember. My mom, when she became pregnant with me, my mom was a preacher's kid. And this was a shocker. This was a very, not scary, but a very, I guess you could say, scandalous is the right word, situation, because she was not married, and, it's a big thing in Christianity. If you're not married, if you have a kid and you're not married, sometimes people, and even more, my family at the time was very religious. And when I mean religious, I mean that at this time, if any bad thing that you did was kind of viewed as taboo, or kind of viewed as you were kind of shunned. So she became pregnant with my dad at the time that she was in college, and this was just like, wow, oh my God, the church girl got pregnant. So at this time, when my mom was pregnant, throughout her whole pregnancy, it was a very scary pregnancy, because I was a risk baby. I don't know if that's the correct terminology for it, but the pregnancy was, it was a high risk of some certain complications, and that I was going to be born with certain issues, because I think she told me that she had pain and she had bleeding and stuff. Anyway, the point is that there was a fight going on, and the devil did not want me to be born, basically, to speak frankly. And throughout the whole pregnancy, my mom told me that she kept declaring, she kept believing that no matter what, she was going to have this baby, that I was going to be born no matter what. And when the day of my birth came, I had to be a C-section. And this video is going to be a little long, just a disclaimer, because I am sharing with you guys, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of my miracles. But then there's going to be, if I don't get to it all, there's for sure going to be a part 2 of this, where I'm going to speak about later on in my life, as I grew older, different testimonies, different things that God has done in my life as my, from my teenage years, starting teenage years up. Anyway, so as I was saying, it was a very high-risk pregnancy. So the day of my labor came, and I had to be a C-section. because the way that I was positioned in the womb, I was feet first instead of head first. So they had to do an emergency C-section. And that aside, it was perfectly fine. But then, when I was born, I had a certain bone of my hip was missing. It was, I think, the bone that connects to your femur, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure which bone that is. I am not a, I'm not a health major. Sorry about that. So I am not sure which of the bone was missing. But imagine this is the hip, this is the femur. So there's a bone, or there are bones in your hip, and I was missing part of that bone. So that bone was the connection that would help me, that would help a person walk. So I was not able to walk on my own. I could not walk without these it was these like cast looking things that were connected to my legs. And mind you, I was months old, I was very young, and I had not been able to walk at all. I wasn't like a normal baby who normally takes their steps around a year. That's when they start walking. No, I didn't walk. So there was a day where my mom was actually in the doctor's office, and out of nowhere, I start walking in the doctor's office. My mom started crying so hard. She was so happy. And I give God all the glory because He was the one that allowed me to walk. He was the one that healed me. And I started walking, I think it was around 3 years old. So that's a little late to start walking. But if it hadn't been for the miracle, I would be walking in a wheelchair today. So, and I'm perfectly fine. My legs are perfectly fine. I don't need a walker. I don't need anything. And this is a true story. I am not making this up. My mom can testify to this, that up until those years, I needed assistance from these medical casts to help me to walk. Not only that, later on, fast forward to my elementary years, they started noticing some things. Actually, when I was 5 years old, I think that's when it started happening, that I started having seizures. Yes, seizures. When I was 5, I was actually in my aunt's house. She was babysitting me. My mom was working, and my aunt said that out of nowhere, I spaced out. She was calling me, and I wouldn't answer. And then I started shaking. For those who haven't seen any or witnessed any seizures, there's uncontrollable shaking. And this is on what people have told me. I am telling you what people have told me, but the crazy thing is that when a person has seizures, their brain has no recollection of what happened. You do not remember at all what occurred. It's like as if your brain does this shutdown, and it doesn't have the ability to, you remember what led up to it, but then when the seizure occurred, you don't remember anything after. You don't remember the seizure, and you don't remember, all you just know is that you woke up in the hospital. That's it. So that was the first one. And I don't remember what I was told. My aunt was very scared. She called 911, and they took me to the hospital. Then I do remember some of the next one. I've had 3 seizures in my life. The second one was in school. I remember, this is what I remember. I remember we went out the back doors and we were going outside for recess. And as I walk out, I remember that I'm in the line, and I'm running or about to run to the field because, everybody's excited. Oh my God, we're about to play, we're about to have fun. And then out of nowhere, blank. Everything goes black. And I remember that I just woke up in the hospital. That's it. I wake up and my mom's there, my stepdad's there, and I'm just like, what the heck happened? Like, what? Why am I in the hospital? And they're like, Genesis, you had a seizure, and then that was the second one. The last one that I had in my life, this one actually was a very weird one because this was a minor seizure, and this one was when you're in between conscious and unconscious. So I remember, and this one's kind of embarrassing because this one is weird. So this day, during this time I also had asthma. So I would have to have a lot of I would have to take, I don't know, God, I don't remember the correct thing. There's this machine that these people that struggle with asthma, you turn it on and you put a mask and it blows it doesn't blow. It has this albuterol medicine. Oh my God, I'm totally butchering this. Anyway, so I would have to do these treatments to help me breathe better. So I remember that before that, I had ate a big bowl of spaghetti, of Chef Boyardee spaghetti. So, gets worse. So I wake up in the middle of the night to my whole bed covered in vomit of spaghetti. Yes, spaghetti. So I wake up, but I am not completely awake. I remember bits and pieces. I remember being looking around. My mom was talking to me, but I have no idea what she was saying. I was just looking around, and I was probably around, I don't know, maybe 8 years old. I don't know. And I remember I was just looking around, and I was looking at my bed, and I don't remember even what I was thinking at the time. And I remember I even touched my vomit. Yes. And this is disgusting, but this is to show you how serious these seizures actually are. You have no idea sometimes what you're doing, because in my right mind I am disgusted by vomit. If I see vomit, I start gagging and I want to throw up again. So I was definitely having a mild seizure at this time. But anyway, during this time they diagnose me and they say that I have epilepsy, and they tell my mom that this condition, because it's such a rare condition and they actually have no specific scientific proof of why this happens. This disease, it's not a disease, it's a disorder. They don't really understand why exactly the brain does this, and I recommend, if you want to learn more, I recommend you looking for research on this. So they diagnose me and they say that this disorder does have some side effects, that they could see that my mom could see a mental delay, that I probably might not process information as well as other kids in my grade, which was actually the total opposite case. I've always been good in school. Those who know me, I'm a nerd. I love to learn. I love school. I like to read. And I've always been good at school. So this didn't make sense. And now afterward that we understood that this was not well, I understand now that there's certain diseases, certain things that they are not caused by the body. They're actually caused in the spiritual realm. There are spirits that bring diseases, and that's a video for another day. But anyway, so I've prescribed medicine. This medicine doesn't take away the seizures, but this medicine, what it did was like alleviate some symptoms, or there were some chemicals that would alter certain things in my brain. That sounds bad, but try to normalize certain things, or some things that would probably trigger a seizure. So fast forward, this testimony is solely going to be on my epilepsy, but there's been a whole bunch of other miracles that God has done in my life. So I start taking these pills, and I remember that I was taking these pills for a while, and until one day I was in church, and we had this time where we would actually stay after church, and we would worship, we would pray, we would intercede, we had this very intense seeking going on throughout like a whole month. And I remember that our pastor was saying, if you want to come up here, declare what you want to see and declare it with faith so it will happen. So I got up and I told my mom, I'm going to go up there. And I was, up until this time, I was very shy. I was not confident in myself at all. And I'm still shy certain times when it comes to meeting new people. But I was extremely shy. But I took some courage. Not my courage. God's courage. The Spirit. And I went up there and I was like, I am not going to take any pills anymore. I am done. And my pastor believed it. My mom, she believed it, but she was a little scared because that summer, I didn't take a pill. From that day on, I stopped taking my medicine. I know some people might be like, you're crazy. And you're probably right. But I have not had a seizure ever since. When I went to my doctor, they completely cleared me. They were like, you're perfectly fine. You haven't had seizures in years. You're good. You don't have to take your medicine anymore. And hearing that was evidence to me that that God had placed in me the faith to heal. And I remember that there was one service that my pastor went to me, and he was like, you're a miracle to make miracles. And I will never forget that ever since that day, I saw how the healing hand of God was over me ever since I was small to now. And that is just a very small glimpse of the millions of testimonies that God has done over my life. So I wanted today to be a little different. And I wanted to show for those who believe, for those who don't believe, that God actually heals people and that He has the power to heal people. He does. He really does. I know it might seem that some people might fake it, because some people do. I know some people do. But I can testify that God is a miracle working God. I was supposed to be in a wheelchair. I was supposed to live with epilepsy my whole life, to where I wasn't supposed to have. I was top 20 in my class of 500 students. Top 20. that wouldn't make sense to according to epilepsy standards. So yeah, I encourage you today to believe in the miracle working power of God. And for those who are not Christian, and maybe they have a family member who is sick, I declare, or I ask you to have faith. I ask you to put your faith in God. And for those who are not Christian, who don't believe in God, it's okay. Well, I respect that you might not believe in God. But hopefully through this message, you might be able to, at least from being a total atheist, maybe you can be a skeptic now. Maybe you could be lean a little more towards the side of God. Because just because you deny the existence of something does not mean it doesn't exist. God is real, and God loves you, and He is a miracle working God. That no matter how many times sometimes people don't believe His power, He chose us to display His power. And sometimes there's certain sicknesses, certain diseases that happen so that God can glorify Himself, so that He can heal us. He healed me so that I can show you and I can share to you that He has the power to heal, that He can heal. So I thank you for watching this video, and I encourage you to believe in the miracle working power of God. God bless.